Get ready, everyone, and you just might survive. Ruben and Jason are here with their X-Men deep dive. Going through all the X-books is their mission, so get ready for the Learned Edition. Things are getting weird in here. Ruben hopes another sword book gets announced this year. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind.
Welcome all you weirdos, time travel fashion consultants, and teleporting dogs with wishbones on your foreheads. It is time to receive your 163rd Weird Dose of X, the mutant member of your Weird Science podcast family. I am your Clear Liquids Only host, Jason, broadcasting as always from the Wrong Turn studio perched high atop stately Weird Science Tower. And with me is a man who is deeply relieved that Hulkling and Wiccan are in fact not dead. It's my pal Ruben. Hey Ruben, how the heck are you?
Doing good. I like
Glad
Wiccan.
to hear it.
I like Wiccan more than a lot of people. I might even check out that 6-issue Wiccan solo miniseries they announced.
Oh, I guess I heard something about that. Is it anything tied to this stuff, or as far as you know, is it just a plain old solo series?
They're
Who's doing
claiming
that?
it. Yeah, I don't know if it's tied to this. They're claiming. I mean, they make a reference to like Hulkling post-Imperial,
Okay.
so it might be like a fallout of this. But they allege that it's going to have ramifications for Marvel Mystic
Of course.
stories. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it's called Wiccan Witches Road, 5 issues by Wyatt Kennedy, starting in December.
And I have
Well,
no idea who that is.
I'm sure Jim will be covering the heck out of that series. I'm sure it's at the top of his list, so we'll hear about it then. So
Guaranteed to cover that one.
Guaranteed. You know, he's a huge Wiccan fan. So, busy time here at our household. We dropped our youngest kid off at her first year of college this past week, so that's a pretty
Wow.
big deal.
Yeah, that is.
I'm starting my annual mass production of fancy little French cookies for the upcoming Homebrew Jamboree up in New Hampshire, where I bring a few hundred cookies and I eat and drink like a king all weekend, so that's a good trade for me.
I meant to ask you about this. So it's a homebrewer convention. I keep
Yes.
asking questions. One of these years I'm going to show up at it. That's
Cool.
sort of where this
Welcome.
is ending. But do you have to bring homebrew, or can you just, as you do, bring food?
No, you don't have to bring any homebrew. You can. I'm a member of one of the homebrew clubs, even though I haven't actually homebrewed beer in a lot of years now. But I'm still technically a member of the club.
Yeah.
So the clubs bring all the beer. For a long time, it was a fundraiser for Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
So obviously, anyone who would pay the fee to donate to Make-A-Wish was certainly welcome. I didn't see Make-A-Wish there last year, so I don't know if it was a temporary blip or if they'll be back. Hope they're back. It's always good to do some good stuff while you're up in the woods drinking a lot of beer.
Yeah.
There is never a shortage of beer, but I always felt like I want to bring something. If I'm not making
Yeah, that
beer
makes
anymore,
sense.
at least I can bring it. And there's so much great cooking going on there, but I noticed that no one was really making dessert. So that was like my little niche. I could do something a little different. So for the past, 15 years or so, I've been making these cookies.
Yeah.
But
Frankly,
probably
if you're going to be drinking like 8 pints of beer, you kind of need something to fill the stomach. So
right, and then
I
you
think
have
you're doing
brunch,
God's
and
work.
then you keep going. Right. But I really shouldn't be talking about food right now, Ruben, but because today I am on like I said, a clear liquids only diet. Because
no.
tomorrow, Ruben, a certain doctor is going to put a certain camera in a certain location. So I'm grateful to have this distraction in the middle of my day to talk about some Marvel Comics nonsense with you. Hey, public service announcement, folks. If the doctor tells you got to get the camera up there, it's not that big a deal. It's the day before is not fun, but just do it, get over with, and move on with your life. Really not that bad. Okay, so let's talk about some things that are even more fun than a colonoscopy room, if you could imagine.
That's hard to imagine.
We are going to talk about Exceptional X-Men number 12. We're going to talk about Wolverine number 12. And over in our Weird Dose Cosmic Corner, we're going to talk about Imperial number 3. I'm trying some branding over there on the cosmic stuff because it's not really X-Men related, but we'll see if it sticks.
There's Xavier. He's in space.
Yeah, he's gonna be like the Exiles title is gonna be about him once we see that. It's been a long. I keep waiting for him to show up in these things, but he's not going to be there until the Imperial book is taking a month off between 3 and 4, and that's when all the one-shot tie-ins are happening, and that's when we'll see Xavier. So last week I had promised that the Imperial Black Panther tie-in was going to come out this week because I talked about how maybe now I'll finally understand who these people are, but at some point that got delayed. So the Black Panther tie-in is now expected next week, maybe alongside Imperial She-Hulk tie-in, unless that one gets bumped too. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. I managed to read all 25 issues of Intergalactic Wakanda, so
Awesome.
I'm well informed at this point.
Glad to hear it. So you'll be all set next week. When we talk about that, you will be the expert. Thank goodness, because I am not. I do have a tiny bit of news this week. It's something I mentioned on the Slack, which, hey, folks, you'd know about it already if you were a member of the Patreon. Patreon, search for Weird Science Comics and be on the Slack. We had a new Marvel crossover. Not a crossover in a comic sense, but in a crossover in a capitalism sense. Starting this week, Ruben, if you're so inclined, you can go out to your local cigar store and purchase Viaje Skull and Bone cigars under the names Logan, Wolverine, and Weapon X. So if you want to smoke things named after Wolverine, now you can do it. You happen to be a cigar guy, Ruben?
No, I think they're kind of gross.
Yeah, not my thing either. My Arabic relatives when I was a kid were all big cigar smokers. So that's like my mental picture of people smoking cigars is me being a little kid and all these people speaking a language I didn't understand and smoking cigars. These $14 each for a cigar. I guess that's not unusual in the cigar world.
Yeah,
seems like a lot of money to me to be lighting something on fire, but
yeah, it's for the flavor, I'm sure.
People like different
things.
I
don't think that's that crazy. I mean, I don't see cigar smokers like chain smoking cigars. Maybe I hang out with the wrong cigar smokers, but
maybe or the right ones.
Yeah, I mean it's not crazy if you're not.
I shouldn't speak too much. Ruben, I ordered more tea last night. I saw some new teas on sale. I spent like $70 on tea.
Yep.
Now that will be like 40 different days that I can have this tea. So it seems cheaper to me on a per session basis, but people like what they like.
Yep.
I did see that this is not the first Marvel project done by Viaje Skull and Bones. You want to guess what other Marvel characters might have had a foot in the cigar world?
Nick Fury.
I don't see. That's a good guess. I didn't see that one. Maybe they'll do that one next.
Peter Parker.
No, they will not do it. Oh, man.
How about J. Jonah Jameson?
Another great guess. The ones they've done. How about think Fire?
Oh, Fire. Mm-hmm. Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider. Yes, they had a trio called Ghost. They don't do these in groups, apparently. They had a Ghost Rider, a Johnny Blaze, and a Mephisto. The others they have are Bruce Banner and the Hulk. They like to do the character name and the person name.
Yeah, these are good ones, but good combos. But if you're smoking death, like I don't think you want it thrown in your face quite that way with Mephisto.
Well, he's like not even death; he's the devil, right?
Yes.
So Bruce Banner and the Hulk, and I guess the Hulk one for that is a larger. I think it said ring size, which I guess means the diameter of the thing.
Mm. So they actually kind of theme the cigars after the characters. That's kind of cool.
And then there's Frank Castle and the Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to smoke your Marvel characters? There you go.
So that was a cigar, and your family gets murdered.
Oh,
good times. Good sad. Times.
Yeah, I haven't seen one about the new Punisher. If he's still is the new guy who's the Punisher still around? Frank Castle is coming back, right? So something about.
I think that was kind of a failure. Yeah, I can't imagine the new guy is really ever going to make an appearance again anywhere. But
well, you got to be careful with those. Got to be careful with those confident predictions, Ruben, because sometimes they come back to bite you the very next day. We'll get into that when we talk about
nobody cares about the Inhumans. Nobody at all. Yeah,
Marvel's just totally trying to bury them, pretend they never existed. We will never see them again. And then I get the review copies and I DM Ruben saying, "Well, guess what? Well, we'll get to that over in the Cosmic Corner. Is this sounder going to work? It's on repeat, but that works. Okay. But before we get there, we got other stuff to talk about. So let's head over to the Infinity Comic, which is Astonishing X-Men Infinity Comic number 34, Change of Heart, Part 3. It's written by Tim Seeley, art by Eduardo Audino, colors by KJ Diaz, and letters by Clayton Coles. So we go back to our story about Morph, or maybe it's about Changeling, or maybe about both of them. I'm mostly going to say Morph unless it's necessary for clarity. So Morph has joined the Ireland X-Men, and he says he's chasing this bad guy Changeling. But Banshee and seemingly everybody else on the team thinks that this alleged Morph guy really is Changeling, who's either out of his mind or up to something. Now, Ruben, I know this isn't going to happen because it would ruin the story, but are there any working Cerebro units around to check this guy out?
You would think, yeah, this seems like a really convoluted way to verify.
Yeah,
but
call up Emma Frost, Quentin Quire, you know, probe this guy's brain, say what's going on in there.
Yeah, there's even Psylocke, right? Like, just get Psylocke over here.
she's there too.
She's not doing anything.
Right. I think her miniseries is already over, so she got some time on her hands. I know that's not going to happen because that's not the way the story is going to work out, but I wonder about these things. In this week's chapter, the team, including Morph, heads to jolly old England. And naturally, Ruben, when you go to England, what is the first place as a tourist you head to?
I mean, I'd be heading to probably a beer pub, but
they go to the beach.
Yes.
Because when you think of England, you think of the beach. You think of, getting a good, nice suntan there in Wales or
I mean, they probably would have. If you were going to go like stereotype, they would have gone to like Big Ben, right? Or what's the other one? Westminster Abbey. Like those are
Bridge,
that kind of stuff. But
we didn't know they were coming here because what they're doing is they're investigating some crimes, and they had a feeling that these crimes were connected to retired spies in this one resort town. So that's why they're at this part of England. It's a fictional town called Ferryhead-on-Sea in Somerset. I did try to find it. It doesn't. Somerset exists. There's a town called Ferryhead that's not in Somerset, but it's kind of like gesturing at this southwestern part of England.
I mean, this is where Simon lives, right?
Probably.
He seems like a beach bum.
I mean, England's about the same size as Rhode Island, I got to figure, so it can't be that far apart. I did check the weather in this part of England just this morning, Ruben. Mm-hmm. It's certainly beach weather. It's rainy and about 62 degrees Fahrenheit. Mm-hmm. So it's exactly like Waikiki, pretty much, more or less.
Yeah.
With maybe not quite the same food. It is fun to see. We get to see Gateway having some time on panel, which is cool. Strutting around on the beach here with his straw hat to protect him from those harsh England solar rays. Still not a whole lot in the way of characterization for him. He doesn't get to speak in this issue, but it is good to see him not just being used for free shipping. So, hooray for Gateway. So, these crimes have all been seen around in this kind of spy retirement area. Banshee sees a newspaper photo of a, quote, local safety group, and he jumps to the conclusion that everyone in the photo is an ex-SHIELD agent because they're all sitting with their backs to the thickest wall.
Yeah.
Or, Ruben, maybe they're having a group photo taken, and when that happens, you all face the same way because that's how cameras work.
Mm-hmm.
That's another conclusion you could jump to, but Banshee says, no, these are definitely ex-SHIELD agent spies. Fair enough. We'll take it, but it was kind of silly. We've established these are ex-SHIELD agents. Presumed motive of the presumed changeling bad guy is to meet these folks and get to know them well enough so that he can imitate them and get access to places that he wants to get access to. Morph, Husk, and Skin go to one of these safety group meetings. And it's kind of like an all shapeshifter team, which is fun. I like that little bit. Morph obviously can look like whatever he's seen. Husk has been recently established that she can, pull her face off and imitate YouTubers or podcasters or whatever. Skin, has it been established that Skin can look like other people? That was new to me, but again, I haven't really read his backstory.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with Skin. And I'm not, I like to do like these old deep dives, but Gen X is not anywhere on my soon to read backstory list.
It's kind of deep in your pile of to read, yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to say that he can change his appearance to look different. I don't think he can imitate like a specific person the way Husk or Morph can.
Yeah, and I mean, in this case, he's just kind of making himself look a little older with wrinkly face. So,
right, and not look like a guy with 85 pounds of extra skin dripping off him, which would cause people to comment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an all shapeshifter team. They go to this meeting and they schmooze, while Banshee, the ex-cop, he follows around one of the only two members of this group who haven't had a break-in happen yet, because that's suspicious. Now again, Ruben, if you were the bad guy in this group, wouldn't you think maybe you'd fake a break-in your own place to throw off suspicion? Or maybe I just have the naturally criminal mind because that's clearly what I would. Oh no, someone stole my stamp collection. I wonder who the But this person doesn't do that. Banshee follows a woman that he's seen before, an ex-SHIELD agent named Gladys Louder, which is weird because she's supposed to have been dead for 4 years. And again, you think one of the other spies in her public safety group would notice, hey, aren't you dead? But only Banshee does that. Banshee follows Gladys to her house, or a house at least, sees her remove her face like a mask, like a Mission Impossible, and under the mask it's a robot. Are we supposed to recognize who this robot is? Because
I certainly didn't. I think it's a cool design. It looks interesting. But
yeah, it looks. I mean, who's the only robots we know of in Marvel who could do these kind of things? I mean, I don't think it's going to be Ultron because Ultron's busy elsewhere.
Yeah, it's definitely not Ultron.
We've seen that. Oh, in a previous arc, we had that computer built out of janky Radio Shack stuff that was sending people like through time. Could that be a connection?
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's within this series, so that seems most likely. I mean, maybe it's like a smiley robot. We haven't seen them in a while.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, well, we'll wait and see. I still think, Ruben, I think the twist is going to be that Morph is on the up and up and really is, at least he thinks he's chasing Changeling, because in this, we didn't get into some of the dialogue, but Banshee is leaning so heavily into the, oh, that's really Changeling.
Yeah.
It feels like it's got to be setting up for a twist.
Yeah.
But we'll
by the way,
find out.
I think his reaction is completely rational. I don't know if we're supposed to think like, oh, look at the old timer that's unwilling to get over the fact that he was used by this character to, attack his friends with a bomb strapped to his head. But I think it's perfectly okay for Banshee to be like, no, I'm not cool with that.
Yeah. Again, you'd think he'd be more interested in how can we find out the truth for real? How can we get this guy tested? Okay, that is the Infinity comic. I'm still into the central idea here. I think some of the specific plot moves in this particular chapter were a little bit clunky, didn't quite work out, but I'm still on board. We'll see what happens. Moving on to Exceptional X-Men number 12, written by Eve L. Ewing, art by Federica Manchin, colors by Nolan Woodard, and letters by Travis Lanham. So, last time, we saw Kitty Pryde fall into a swirly pink dimensional portal thingy that Ironheart left completely unguarded in the midst of a busy Chicago park. Not even like a triangular wet floor sign like you'd get at the supermarket. In this issue, we find out that the portal thingy was the inadvertent creation of Reggie, Trista's schoolmate and secret crush. I did not see that coming. Ruben, did you see that coming? So I did look back in the last issue, and it did appear right after they saw Reggie in the park, and then it got bigger right after he passed by again. So Eve Ewing is playing fair here. When she makes the reveal, you go look back, it was kind of set up secretly. So
yeah, they did a good job of making it seem like it was being caused by Tank, right? That Tank was somehow responsible for the portal. So I did think that was a good distraction, I guess.
Yeah, and Reggie, we haven't seen him before last issue. We hadn't seen him for a few issues. So if he was set up, and presumably he was set up to be a secret mutant the whole time, it was done pretty well. So Riri, I guess we don't see how Riri gets involved. Either Reggie somehow contacts Riri, or he just hangs there at the park and she shows back up to do more tests and he speaks up and says, hey, here's the thing. But however it happens, she brings him back to the uncanny, or not the uncanny, the exceptional X-Men clubhouse, and we have a little conversation talking about all this stuff. Emma Frost pokes around in Reggie's mind a little. Good luck with that, Reggie. That always goes well. She determines that these swirly portals are portals that go back in time. And he's had some moments where he can't remember what happened. So I guess he's gone back in time and doesn't remember it, and he's come back. That part was kind of vague and hand-wavy. Any idea what's going on there?
No, I don't understand how time travel mixes out your mind. I kind of thought were they trying to say that he just falls through it accidentally, his own portals, and somehow gets back, and that. But I
think they're trying to make an excuse for him not to know how dangerous he really was.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you know that you're leaving time portals just in your wake every place you go.
Yeah.
And it's weird because he says these just kind of happen anywhere he goes, but.
And they just go back a little bit.
Notice?
Yeah, they just go back a little bit. So has he just got a lot of deja vu? Is what happening is that a portal appears, he goes through it, he goes back 3 days, and then he
I
just
don't
lives
know, because
going forward. I'm really confused.
Apparently Kitty went back to her own teenage years, So is it like a set amount of time? Do you always go back in your own timeline?
Yeah.
It has been established, and maybe it will be established better, but so far, pretty vague exactly what his portals do. Okay, so another thing, Riri says something I didn't really follow. Ruben, I understand that when you're not reading and rereading Dark Phoenix, you're a bit of a Riri Williams superfan. Is that correct? So you must know all about Riri. So right after Emma announces the whole back in time thing,
I watched an episode and a half of Ironheart. So
okay,
that makes me qualified, right?
You are the local expert there. That's more than I've watched. Riri says that she went back in time once, and then she says, quote, "Not terrible, although hard on the knees."
Yeah.
What the hell is that about?
It's an extremely uncomfortable statement because I came to the exact same thought that Jim did, and I'm not a particularly filthy individual.
Yeah, I asked in Slack if anyone had any ideas, and Jim said she needed the money.
Yes.
Let me get here we go.
How dare you?
Because Ruben, how dare you think of such a thing yourself?
I just never heard
teenager.
that.
She's a hero. Chicago's own superhero.
I know, but I've never heard like on the knees in any other context. It's like
is she a catcher on the softball team? Because that can be rough on the knees.
She's praying, right? That's what she's referring to. She's
could be doing Pilates, back in time to go to jazzercise aerobics. I don't know.
Yeah, it really threw me off, and I was like,
because it feels like it should be a specific reference to something.
Yeah,
because it's just a weird. Oh yeah, tough on the knees. That time travel. Mm-hmm. I don't get it.
She played a lot of basketball. That's what it was, right?
I back in time travel is all about basketball. She's in Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
So what they determine here is that somebody needs to go enter another portal, find Kitty, and bring her home. And how does this time travel work? Do all the portals go to the same? We just got a hand wave. It's going to work. And we're also told that it can't be Emma or Bobby because if they run into the young Kitty, and then young Kitty is about to meet it's got to break the timeline, basically, cross the stream situation. It's just an excuse to make it so that the exceptional X-Men teens have to be the ones to go. Again, just like I say, for all these things, why don't they call up somebody else who's more experienced with these things? But it's exceptional X-Men. It's the cast of this book who's got to do it. So now the kids run off to a thrift store to acquire some period-accurate garb so they don't stand out when they go back in time.
Mm-hmm.
And Ruben, I guess I'm just officially an old man now, because when the kids come back, it looks to me like they're just dressed as regular-ass modern-day teenagers. I did not get, look at that old-fashioned clothing they're wearing.
I know.
Oh, man. I did
is Eve Ewing really like got her finger on the pulse of the youth? Because I looked at that, I'm like, this is just clothing, right? Like if I saw them wearing that in any other context, I wouldn't have been like, oh, that's so crazy. They're super retro.
Yeah, if these same characters were just showing up doing an adventure, like in the first panel of this book, wearing those clothes, I'd accept it.
We would not say anything. Yeah, we would not say anything.
Like, I know that Bronze has, like, kind of quirky fashion sense to begin with.
Yeah.
So the string of pearls she's wearing is a bit weird, but I just write it off as, well, that's Bronze doing her thing.
Yeah.
I did send this panel to my own teenagers. One of them got back to me, so hey, 50-50, that's not bad.
Yeah. Yep.
And my 18-year-old said,
consultants.
Yeah, my 18-year-old said, I asked, what year do you think these outfits are supposed to represent?
Mm-hmm.
My 18-year-old said, no idea, but definitely not the present. So at least to her, they looked old-fashioned, like vaguely old-fashioned.
Yes. So ancient clothing.
Which now makes me think, given Marvel's whole sliding time scale, if Kitty goes back, I don't know, maybe 10 years-ish, that would be now 2015?
Oh, God, don't say that.
Is 2015 the past? I mean, obviously it is, but also it's not. To me, the past ends around, like, the mid-90s. Everything since the mid-90s is, like, current day.
Yeah. I guess it would be about 10 years, because it's got to be, like, she's probably, like, what, 28 to 32 in the current timeline?
Sure.
So if she was a teenager, that is really like only 15 years ago.
Yeah, so maybe 2010-ish.
Oh, God.
My God. Okay, so Ruben, let's leave our existential crises aside and move forward into this comic book.
She was born in the 90s, or she was a teenager in the 80s. That's the way it is. I'm not going to accept anything else.
It's funny how some things feel like they got to be certain times, and some things feel like they got to be a certain amount of time ago.
Yeah.
It's the Marvel timeline. best not to think about it too
Yeah,
hard.
this kind of thing
Except that's what we do.
It doesn't bother me that much. It's just kind of funny. It makes me feel ancient.
Indeed. So, back to the comic book. Emma helps Reggie create another portal on demand because he can't really do this on purpose yet without any help.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess she makes sure somehow it's targeted to the same place that Kitty went, the same time Kitty went, kind of glossed over. It does help that Kitty is currently living in the same city that she lived when she was a teenager.
Yeah.
So don't have to worry about, I don't know if they end up in exactly the same spot, but they end up in the same town, which is fine.
Yeah, you get to avoid the they're on a family vacation here kind of thing, which is just annoying, but that's how you get people, there, so you can have this shenanigans with meeting your younger self kind of thing. But
yeah, she's already back in her hometown. It works. Yeah. So anyway, the exceptional teens, they drop on through the portal, and then moments later, the exceptional clubhouse is attacked by 3 dog sentinels, presumably sent there by warden/podcaster Corinna Ellis, which is a crazy coincidence. We do get a throwaway line from Ironheart saying they're drawn to the energy signature of the space-time doohickey.
Yeah.
But really weird for them to show up right now. Why were they so close? They must have already been in Chicago because they got there in like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So the adult exceptionals defeat 2 of the 3 dog sentinels. The third one's missing. Naturally, it will have gone through the portal and is going to cause trouble for the teens next issue, we expect. So now we're in the past, and these exceptional teens arrive in the past version. Actually, I'm wrong, Ruben. They're not in Chicago at all. They are where Kitty was as a teenager, which was not Chicago, it was Deerfield, Connecticut.
Oh,
it actually says that right here on panel. So, Jim, edit that out. I know you're not going to edit it out. I know you won't do that, but that's okay. I'm going to say it anyway, so people know I wanted it.
So how does the time portal also relocate you? It's a time and space portal?
It's his... I'm gonna say, if I want to, come up with a best case scenario here, I'm going to say that once someone's gone through one of Reggie's portals, that locks in a time and place.
Okay.
Any additional portals will still go to that time and place until at least everyone's come back out through the portal. And then maybe then his next one can go to another time and place.
Okay, but so the first person sets the location and it's their childhood.
Probably some psychic childhood, whatever they were thinking of. Because we know that Kitty is kind of thinking about personal issues lately, right? She had that whole scene with her maybe sort of kind of girlfriend with the toothbrush. Mm-hmm. So maybe she's thinking back to who she was as a kid. And I'm going to say that's why the portal took her to Deerfield, Connecticut, or Deerfield, Illinois. It says Deerfield, Illinois. So Jim, just edit this whole thing to make me not sound like a dummy. That's your job. So Deerfield, Illinois, and it is when she's a kid, locked in. And fortunately, Ruben, they find these exceptional teenagers. They do find Kitty right away, except obviously it's the wrong Kitty. It is teenage Kitty Pryde, who they run into on her way to dance class, or maybe leaving dance class. So kind of fun, not a bad issue, nothing. I mean, it feels like low stakes, even though technically it is high stakes getting Kitty out of the past. Some convenient coincidences, some plot holes, maybe some bits you got to fill in. I expect the next issue will be a lot of Kitty Pryde soul searching, thinking about how her old teenage self relates to her current self, that sort of thing. What did you think of this issue in general before we get to actual numbers?
It was a little goofy, but I guess I'm okay with it. I mean, the characters are being kind of lighthearted, and maybe that's what this X-Men story is becoming.
Yes,
I guess it kind of always was, but at least they're doing things, so that feels like an improvement. And if I want to think that this is like significant in any real way, like I was like, oh, well, what happens when you have like future techs of these Sentinels back in the past, right? You could have some scientists locate it and gain knowledge that they shouldn't have, which would then affect the present. Mm-hmm. But I don't think they'll do anything with that, which is kind of unfortunate.
Bringing Reggie more into the cast, making him mutant, that's all right. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I guess they're adding like another exceptional teen. I assume he's part of the group going forward. They definitely need to like define his powers a little better because they're interesting, but it's not very clear from like on the page art, like exactly how they work or what they do.
They have time to do that. If they don't do that going forward, I'll be more critical. But it just happened. He doesn't know what he's doing, so I'm okay with it not being so nailed down because he has no idea. Art wise, because we have Federica Manchin here. She came on board to do part of issue 10, and she's been the main artist ever since. When she came on board for that Alice in Wonderland stuff, presumably she did the Alice in Wonderland bits, and that looked great. But I don't really care for the way she draws these characters. They all look kind of rubber-faced and kind of homely. And I'm not a guy who needs all my comic book characters to be super buff and super sexy, but Emma Frost should not look like she's been beaten around the head and neck with an ugly stick. And Emma Frost here just looks, she does not look good. And Emma would not roll out of bed looking like that. But that's me. It doesn't take away from understanding the story, but they're not panels I like to look at and go, wow, that's a pretty panel. So between a plot that I think is, okay, if not great, and art that I don't particularly care for, I'm going to give Exceptional X-Men number 12, call it a 6.3 out of 10. It's all right. How about you?
Yeah, you're being a little positive. I agree with you on the Emma Frost art. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, is it the colors or is it the pencils? But something just does not make her look like Emma to me.
The lines are not right.
Yeah. And it's not even, God, it's hard to explain. Like, I'm fine with like different people have different styles, but she just doesn't come across as the character that we all know. So, I'm just going to give it a regular 6. I mean, if it's fine. Nothing here is making me want to like add this back to my pull list, so I will continue not to do so. But it's not the worst X-Men story. I'm at least still willing to read it. It's not like Psylocke or even Phoenix. I know we have to read Phoenix, but
yeah, it's a decent, coherent story with some characters I like spending time with. Yeah. They're just not doing that much, and they're not looking that great when they're doing it.
I did, and I still don't even have the characters like 100% memorized, which is not a good sign, right? Like, I can tell you who Bronze is, but like, is it Axo, the color changer?
I know there's like superhero names. I'd have to stop and think about their real person name. So Axo for Axolotl is the emo teen guy, and Melee. I don't remember Melee's full name. It was a Southeast Asian name. I don't remember what it was. She's kind of the tough physical brawler who's also can phase in and out of places. And then Bronze is Trista, and she's like the super Genki, bubbly one. But yeah, I know their superhero names.
Do you think Kate Pryde is going to be like, why are you red? Because Axo is red when he saw her.
Could be.
That'd be my reaction. I'd be like, this is kind of weird. Like,
what
seeing
does little
somebody
Kitty
who's
know about
red.
mutants at this point in her life? Because she hasn't been to Xavier's school yet. So what does she know about that? So I guess we'll have that retcon for us next time. Moving on to our next book, which is the last of our X books this week. It is Wolverine number 12, Legacy number 404, Mother and Master. It is written by Saladin Ahmed, art by Martin Kokolo, colors by Brian Valenza, and letters by Corey Pettit. So this is one of the more straightforward issues we've had to talk about in kind of a while, Ruben. It feels like it should be more complicated because it's got illusions within illusions, but it doesn't really matter. When we last saw Logan, he was being messed with by Mastermind. We knew he was being messed with by Mastermind, but he didn't know he was being messed with by Mastermind. I was seeing visions of his mom, visions of Sabretooth, all sorts of things. I still can't quite tell, is everything he's seen at the Howlett Estate fake? Those first 2 mooks he fought, Harpoon and Vertigo, I don't think they were really there. I don't think that Mastermind had people like underlings. I think everything he's seen, maybe even that redneck jerk from the bar who showed up, were they all just Mastermind visions?
Yeah, maybe. I did kind of laugh at this one point, right? Well, they explain that like, his powers have leveled up and he's not really a psychic, but somehow he can like pick up on.
Yeah, that was hand wavy for sure.
Or
I've seen a lot of that where this character's powers they're just a little bit better now.
Yeah, but he's like, I could sense like what you're thinking about and then bring your thoughts to like, into illusion. So I was like, so Logan was thinking about Harpoon? Like, seriously, that was the villain that was on his mind? I
don't think it has to be that thing. I don't think it's like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man where whatever you think of, you'll see. Yeah. I think it just means that, so like Changeling, we've established, has to see a person, like observe them up close, and then Changeling can look like that person. That's kind of the whole plot in the Infinity comic. Mm-hmm. And I think that used to be a Mastermind thing too. He could only give you visions of things that he knew. Like, he's never seen Logan's mom, as far as we know. The timeline doesn't even work out. So I think the change is that he can now give you visions of things he hasn't seen, but that he can pull out of your own mind. Some hand-wavy thing about how he learned some stuff on Krakoa. I don't really get what his motivation is here. Is he just kind of cuckoo? He just kind of lost his marbles?
So, yeah, it made me really angry because it's just like a cheap retcon type thing. Because he's like, oh, I'm really angry. I wanted to get revenge on the X-Men. I'm like, for what? Like, something happened on Krakoa that he's pissed about, but like, why is he just like randomly, those dang X-Men, I gotta get my revenge on them.
The only guy on Krakoa I remember who was tough on Mastermind was Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
So if anything, you'd be, on the X-Men side. But yeah, he doesn't seem to have any goal here other than he's kind of lost his mind and he wants to actually be Logan's mommy.
Yeah, well, he's like, at first he's like, oh, I was doing this to get you to like be under my thrall, and then I was going to have you kill the X-Men, and that was going to be my revenge. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to be like, which X-Men? Like, who are you going after?
There's a lot of them, yeah.
Which makes no sense. And then, they're just like, oh, but then
let's just live together as a family.
I like learned to love you. Like, what?
Very strange.
It makes no freaking sense. So, anyways.
So what's happening here is Logan has taken this person he thinks is his mom, and together they're fleeing from Sabretooth, and they're fleeing in Logan's car. We get some back and forth panels here that are pretty cool, where we see them as Logan sees them with his mom, and then we see reality when it's just Mastermind. The pair when the height difference is right there, like the shorter mom and the taller Mastermind. That was kind of neat. Mastermind, has the fake mom say that she was resurrected by Sabretooth just so that Sabretooth could torture her to, be mean to Logan, which is absolutely something that Sabretooth would do if he could and if he weren't dead himself. Mastermind has Logan drive around in circles, which, of course, reminds me of an 80s movie.
Hey, look, kids! There's Big Ben and there's Parliament!
European Vacation. Have you watched that movie, Ruben?
Yeah, I love all those movies. They're probably not PC these days, but
oh, of course not. But that's just one of those lines our family repeats all the time. Where when you're going around in a roundabout and you can't quite get to the exit, so you have to go around again. Big Ben Parliament. So Logan's doing this for some unspecified amount of time. Eventually realizes he's seeing the same people over and over again. I guess the illusion isn't perfect, and that's what clues him in that he's being duped. And so he stabs Mastermind to death, as you do. Then he realizes that he only imagined he was stabbing Mastermind to death. And then he stabs Mastermind to death for reals. Probably for reals. Can never be totally sure, but I'm pretty sure because this arc is over now. I just, that one sentence, 2 sentences I skipped over like the last 12 pages of this book. Because all it is, oh, it's imaginary, then he stabs him. Then it's more imaginary, and then he stabs him again.
Well, this is Marvel, so, he got impaled. 100% survived that. We've learned that.
Anything involving a Wolverine and being impaled through the abdomen
does
totally
nothing.
Survivable.
Does nothing, yes.
Little Neosporin, little ace bandage on that.
Even though half his face was like sliced off in one of the scenes, he's 100% okay. The only thing that would make this interesting to me is if down the road we find out like he's still in the illusion. So maybe right before we go into Age of Revelation, like you can have like the real ending. But
next issue is that Gangland, Wolverine part of a mob thing that was previewed at the end of one of the Ms. Marvel giant size books. Remember that?
Yeah.
So
this will be Inception, right? Like the very last issue, they'll be like, "You were always in the illusion. You were just a dream within a dream."
Heck, all of From the Ashes was all in Wolverine's mind. It's gonna be like, what was that soap opera where Bobby somebody comes out of a shower and the whole previous season was just a dream. Maybe one of those things. So you can retcon anything. I do kind of like the Martin Kokolo illustrations here. He does some like MC Escher staircases and like multiple copies of Logan's mom's face kind of torturing him. Nothing super original. Like we've seen this thing all before, but it's decently done for what it is. Communicating the whole idea of illusion. So an okay issue. The motivation of Mastermind is really what's lacking for me. This is like a 3-issue arc, and the whole purpose of the 3 issues is just Mastermind kind of was messing with Logan for no particular reason. So to me, that's really the failing here. Some illusion stuff, some Logan stabbing stuff. If you're just here to see Logan stab people, you got what you paid for, but fairly forgettable, not a lot for us to talk about, and just, I wanted more out of the motivation, so I guess I'm going to give Wolverine number 12 I'm going to give it a plain old 6 out of 10. The plot is not as good as exceptional, but the art is better. So for me, that's going to wind up right around a 6. How about you?
Hypothetically, if they killed Mastermind in this issue, for some period of time, I'd be furious because that's like a big waste of a good character. And none of it made sense. And they kind of made him like, I know he's always been kind of a creep, but not in the sort of like, oh, I'm going to be your mom now.
A conniving creep, not a like psycho, like the movie Psycho, where he's pretending to be his own mother, kind of a deviant kind of a creep.
Yeah. So I really disliked it. I'm going to give it a 5.5, and that's only getting 0.5 because of the art. I thought it was just a bad story. Extremely disappointing.
Fair enough. So that is the last of our X books this week. But if you want to hang on and listen, we're going to enter. I'm going to try it again, Ruben. The Weird Dose of X Cosmic Corner. And we're going to talk about Imperial number 3, written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Iban Coelho and Federico Vicentini, colors by Federico Blee, letters by Corey Pettit and Ariana Mayer. Don't usually need two letterers. I always wonder when that happens. Was there a change made at the last minute and they had to have somebody come in and make the change happen? But we'll see. I didn't notice any like places in this book where, the dialogue or the lettering is so different here. It's probably a different person.
Yeah, I hate to be like down on letters, but I really can't tell you who lettered anything.
Yeah, so I'm going to say either Corey Pettit was just really busy. I'm sure these letterers to make their living have to just pump out these books. So I don't know if somebody got behind schedule and needed help, if there was a last minute change and had to call in somebody who was free. No idea, but that's what it is. Another incredibly minor pedantic thing that bugged me about this issue that I got to get off my chest, Ruben, the chapters. So issue 1 of Imperial was divided into 4 separate chapters, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Issue 2 was just chapter 5. Issue 3 is just chapter 6. So why are we doing inside each issue chapters and then not? It seems like either do it or don't.
Yeah.
Issue 1 was a little bit longer, but not 4 times as long. I did look forward and see that in a couple months, Imperial number 4, well, again, I guess it's going to be oversized because it's overpriced. It's going to be a $7 book, like issue 1, while issues 2 and 3 were $5 books. So I'm going to guess that issue 4 is going to be longer and probably will have multiple chapters. But if you're doing chapters inside, like this issue easily could have been divided up into 2 chapters because there's 2 separate parts. There's, the part happening in the present, and there's the part happening, the flashback to the past. If you're doing chapters, do chapters. So, yeah, what I'm calling part 1 of this is a collection of scenes moving 2 of our present-day storylines forward a little bit. So one thing that happens is, indeed, something I predicted, pretty easily predictable. I'm not going to give myself too much credit. Hulkling and Wiccan are revealed to be alive. Hooray.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Marvel didn't kill off one of its premier gay couples off panel. That wasn't going to happen. Because remember, these 2 disappeared in that mass assassination attempt on Fulcrum, like successful attempt, killed off several people, including Star-Lord's dad. And these 2 just kind of drifted off, were presumed dead in space. Don't know why no one could find them afterwards. I don't know how quickly they would have drifted away, but they're not. I mean,
space is pretty big. It'd be hard to find people. We can't even find people in the ocean, and it's a lot smaller, right? So I'm okay with that. That's
true. I think you'd think someone would have a radio. There was so many people there. Anyway, doesn't matter. They were lost, but they're not dead. I have no idea how far away they are from the original location.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Wiccan is using magic to keep the 2 of them alive in a little bubble of air. Not going to last forever, and they're unable to call for help. And then in the final panel of this bit, Wiccan remembers that he has something in his pocket, which I guess will save the both of them, and he pulls that out, and I have no idea what that is. Do you know what that is?
No.
It looks like a thumb drive, like a USB thumb drive. It's yellow with a red star on it.
Yeah, it sort of made me think of Captain Marvel, but I don't know if they have any relationship. Just the color scheme.
Actually, Niels posted that it reminded him of the transmitter to call Captain Marvel from the movies, from the MCU.
Yeah.
And then did you see Stork's reply?
Mm-mm.
He thinks it's like that, except Wiccan is calling America Chavez.
Well, she comes out of stars, right?
That is the star connection. It's not a crazy idea. I hope it's not true because I think she's kind of an awful character. I guess maybe when she was brand new, she was okay, but her recent uses have been just
Yeah.
Not good.
They were all young Avengers together, so that makes sense. I'm buying it.
I've forgotten that.
Yeah.
So that is our current theory, huh? It'll be America. Is it Chavez or Chavez? Anyway,
America Chavez, yeah.
It'll be her punching holes in reality. So that's that bit. We don't see any more about these two. We don't see how they're going to get rescued. I'm sure we'll see them in issue 4. But now in the other part of what I'm still calling part 1 of this issue, the present day, we see that Star-Lord, Nova, and Shuri, they were in a spaceship and they did make it through that Stargate to get away from space Wakanda before that Stargate was detonated by the Kree who wanted to, the Skrulls, the Kree, I don't know. It must have been the Kree, I think, who had blown it up. Or was it the Shi'ar? I get all my alien races confused. They blew up the Stargate, but this ship made it through.
Yeah,
these
I had to go back and look, but it was definitely exploded.
Yeah, it was the ship that Xandra was on. So she's Shi'ar. So it was like the rebel Shi'ar.
Yes.
Who some of them were hobgoblins, some of them were Skrulls.
The Imperial Guard rejects, the ones that have been decommissioned, are angry that they're no longer involved, and so they infiltrated a bunch of places, including the Skrull, right? One of their hobgoblins is pretending to be some Skrull empress.
We've got our double layers of people pretending to be people,
which has then got the Skrulls. Which has got the Skrulls now going like hog wild everywhere.
Right.
I gotta say, if I was a space race, I would be fucking pissed at the Skrulls. I'd be so tired of this shit. I'd be like,
never trust a Skrull.
How many times have you infiltrated or races and done the whammy?
I guess
I'd have some serious issues with
right?
this. Yeah, I'd have some serious problems with this. I'd be like, okay, we need to get rid of these damn Skrulls.
That's the hatred and fear, Ruben, you're feeling. It's just like anti-mutant bigotry. It's the same thing.
Completely unjustified.
Unjustified, has never hurt a fly.
Okay.
So anyway, these three, Star-Lord, Nova, and Shuri, they're really the only ones who know that this whole war has been a setup. Somebody's been manipulating everybody. It wasn't really the Wakandans who did this. It was somebody who wanted to blame the Wakandans, but they don't know who's done this. They think they need to find themselves a superintelligence, feed all the data in, and the superintelligence will be like your Chat GPT or your Perplexity, and will spit out the answer and let them know who's really to blame. So they flew through the one Stargate, and they go through this crossroads. It's like Breezewood, Pennsylvania, Ruben, which is not a reference you're going to get. No. But if you're driving through Pennsylvania, the way the interstates are set up, you have to go through Breezewood, which is where all the chain restaurants are, and you go to the Cracker Barrel or you go to the Wendy's. Wherever you're going to go, you always stop through Breezewood. And in this part of space, you always got to stop through Fulcrum, and so they're going to go through another Stargate to another area. But first, Star-Lord makes a broadcast to the folks here. Is it Star-Lord or Nova who makes the broadcast?
I think it's Star-Lord. It's kind of hard to tell. You got to tell Nova, put your helmet back on so we know who you are.
They have
it's similar the only way we know
now,
you.
Right?
Yeah.
One of them got to shave. I think Nova has to shave. I think Star-Lord should have the beard.
Okay, that works.
So they just kind of tell the people on the Fulcrum, hey, everybody kind of chill out for a while. Maybe, slow down this whole war thing. We think we're being shenanigan. Something's going on here. They go out through another Stargate to Xandar, which is the destroyed home of the Nova Corps. And they're going to find this Xandarian world mind, which is a superintelligence there. They're going to boot it back up again. Star-Lord agrees to foot the incredibly expensive energy bill to keep the thing running. I guess it takes even more power than a 2025 AI server farm. And so this world mind links up with Richard Rider, Nova's mind, to acquire the relevant data, yada yada. Rider announces that he knows who's behind the shenanigans. He doesn't tell us who, but I'm going to guess that the superintelligence gets the answer right.
Yeah.
And that's when we head into part 2 of this issue, which is going to be the flashback. But first, let's talk about the present day stuff. We're only seeing these two little bits. We see the little bit with Wiccan and what's his name, Hulkling, and then we see the more extended bit with Star-Lord, Nova, and Shuri. Boy, I'm really kind of disappointed we don't see any of the other pieces of the puzzle.
It goes pretty fast, yeah. I mean, I guess we're going to get that when we get the Imperial War stuff.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's what these tie-in issues are going to be. Fair enough, but yeah, we haven't seen She-Hulk since issue 1. I don't know what's going to go on with Black Panther, since most of the interesting things going on with Wakanda are with Shuri here with this group, and we don't see what's going on at all with the Shi'ar and Xandra. We got 2 panels showing that she and Deathbird are now imprisoned, but that's all we see of that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to these tie-ins. They could be fun.
I thought this was cool. A lot of this is picking up from like past stories. So after Annihilation, when all of the Nova Corps was destroyed.
Oh, okay. That was Annihilation thing. I didn't even know when that happened.
Yeah, that was a while ago. But Rich Rider got he was like wearing that helmet that's now like the AI thing that's now asleep. And it made him like a supernova. He had like all the powers of the Nova Corps all at once, which was pretty neat. So I had always wondered, like,
Green Lantern. They always just seem so incredibly Green Lantern. I mean, I don't know who came first.
They are 100%.
Presumably Green Lanterns came first, but
yeah. But in any event, when he had the helmet, he was like infinitely stronger. And recently he didn't. And I was like, I don't know at what point he lost the helmet, but it was kind of cool to me to see that coming back.
So now that maybe he'll be strong again. Maybe now he'll go and try to hook up with Jean Grey some more because he thought she looked so hot in her new outfit.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to reconcile that version of Nova with this so much more serious guy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I guess that's what happens when you're a main character versus a sidekick.
Yeah, and in general, like the Rich Rider and Star-Lord kind of interaction is like they were kind of together, like paired off in the Annihilation anyways, like that story. Okay. They were working together.
I know people were annoyed at issue 1 when they kind of were standoffish towards each other.
Yeah, because of that.
Yeah. But they are written more like they kind of know each other a little bit here, which I'm sure people like.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to what I'm calling part 2 of this issue, which is a flashback to 1 year ago, letting us know what's really going on. So, Ruben, we already knew that the Grandmaster was involved. I think you had guessed that very early on.
Yes.
Now we find out the identity of the other player in their little game.
Yeah, there's no way I would have come up with this, but I was also okay with it. But yeah, I was not thinking Maximus of the...
Yeah. This is the part where I felt like a dummy because, again, it was the same day that we had recorded me saying, the Inhumans, Marvel
Maximus,
wants to pretend they don't even exist. I open up the review copies, and the other player in this little game with Grandmaster is Maximus Boltagon. Maximus the Mad, Inhuman, and brother to Black Bolt, which is, super surprising, not just because he's an Inhuman, but also, Ruben, Maximus is dead.
Oh, is he?
Very dead. Okay. He absolutely died in that Donny Cates Death of the Inhumans miniseries that was like 2018 at the very beginning of 2019. It was a confusing miniseries because in the early issues, it seemed like kind of everybody died. But then the twist was, it was like, do you remember in Heir of Apocalypse when all the characters who died turned out to just be teleported somewhere else?
Yeah.
It was that. But then in the last issue, a bunch of them really did die. And one of the ones who really did die, he seemed to die early on, but then he really did die in like the last issue of that. It was Maximus.
Well, he's a master of deceit, as we learn here. So you were just deceived somehow.
Yeah, that was also, if you remember, when we talked about issue 1 of Imperial, I said, hey, Ronan the Accuser, he's supposed to be dead too.
Yeah.
Also from that same event.
Interesting.
So for all
I kind of wonder, like, maybe Hickman didn't get around to reading Donny Cates' story.
Maybe that whole miniseries is now retconned out of continuity.
Yeah.
I do hope it gets explained somehow.
I have enough
Hickman's
faith.
Usually pretty meticulous about connecting the dots.
I'm gonna think that like they're gonna directly address it. One would hope, at least.
And that mini is also why Black Bolt and the core group of still alive Inhumans went kind of out into space for a while. So it does seem like now they're coming back from that self-imposed exile. So that part seems to connect with Death of the Inhumans, but other things don't quite make sense yet. I hope they get explained.
Yeah. Well, we have like, I don't know, we have like six issues to explain some stuff.
I'm almost kind of wondering if we'll get a surprise, because we've seen the announcement of some of the series spinning out of this, the cosmic things, right? She-Hulk's getting her cosmic series. Some other people getting a cosmic series.
Like a random Inhumans thing.
Is there going to be a reveal? We didn't tell you about this because it's a twist, but here's an Inhumans cosmic series. Because he does seem to be behind all of this.
This idea of Maximus being buddies with Black Bolt in like this effort to bring back their empire, I actually find that kind of intriguing, and it sort of sets them up as like a villainous group, or at least a morally gray. It reminds me a lot of the way Krakoans were, right after they formed.
The brothers is always contentious. Sometimes they're working together. Sometimes it's kind of like Thor and Loki, really.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes they're against each other. Sometimes they're the worst enemies. Sometimes they're fighting against another force. But anyway, let's explain what actually happened. So back a year ago, Maximus shows up and makes a bet with the Grandmaster, and the Grandmaster is intrigued enough to take it. The bet is that if Grandmaster manipulates all these various worlds into an interstellar war within 1 year, Maximus is going to give Grandmaster the secret of Inhuman Terrigenesis, along with the full genetic records of the Inhumans, which feels like something that Mr. Sinister would want if Mr. Sinister was an Inhuman villain and not an X-villain.
Yeah.
Very Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, and Grandmaster isn't the collector, right? So it's sort of like, why would he really want this? It's like you're talking to the wrong Elder of the Universe, but maybe maybe he would like trade it to his brother.
Well, he was only into it for the challenge, we find out.
Yeah.
He didn't really care
exactly.
about this.
I get it, but I'm just saying, like,
enough.
I just wonder, like, did Maximus know who he was selling to, right? Like, what kind of research did he do?
Probably knew, and I think he knew that Grandmaster would be intrigued by the challenge. But Grandmaster has to do things as a bet. That's kind of like the shtick.
Yeah.
So he knew he had to phrase it as a bet, even though the bet wasn't really
this idea of like you're betting like the most precious thing to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if Grandmaster fails, Maximus just said, "Oh, give me a favor to be named later." But clearly, what Maximus wants isn't the favor. He wants the interstellar war to happen.
Yeah.
Because he thinks that'll help him and his family. So Grandmaster takes the challenge, accepts the challenge, slowly starts to bring about the events we've seen unfold already. Right? We know he's going to win the bet. We've seen it happen. We even get reuse of some of the dialogue from those framing sequences now that we know who it is, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Grandmaster.
That part was a little annoying to me because I was like, this is like 3 pages. I already read these 3 pages. And I know Hickman's done this before. I'm like, this is kind of becoming a trope, dude.
Did remind me of, there was one issue of, I think it was during the X of Swords event, wasn't it? Where one issue was just exactly the same dialogue as another issue, but seen from another point of view, so we could see what was really going on.
Yeah.
It was only a little bit of it here, so it didn't really bother me, but it did remind me of that other time. So Grandmaster, totally confident he's going to win, correctly confident, but maybe overconfident in the sense that he overlooks some other dangers. He knows that the Shi'ar aren't super thrilled about the whole Neromani dynasty. He knows that the Kree and the Skrull have always hated each other, always will hate each other. So making these people fight, not going to be super hard.
Yeah.
We jump ahead 11 months, almost to the present day. And Grandmaster has been successful. He orchestrated the assassinations, started the war of everybody versus Space Wakanda, super smug about it. He doesn't even want his winnings. Like you say, Ruben, he doesn't care about genetic secrets. That's not his thing. He just proved his superiority, and he's going to prove it again. How is he going to prove his even greater superiority now, Ruben? What is Grandmaster going to set out to do?
I did like this part. I was
like, great.
He's just like, F you, I'm just going to put it back to the way things were before because I don't want you to get what you wanted.
Right. He's going to put all the pieces back where they started. I don't know how he's going to unkill all these rulers. He's not going to unkill. He
doesn't care. I think he's just going to get
basically where they were.
The societies to be less
back at
hostile to each other, right?
Which is not what Maximus wants. He wanted to lose this bet.
He just wanted the chaos, is what he claimed.
Right. Maximus knows something Grandmaster doesn't, is that there's another player in this game. And he even has, he must have specially commissioned this one, like, minifig, right? There's this one Dungeon Dragon style miniature to put on the board, which is, of course...
He got it on eBay.
Black Bolt.
Hired somebody to do that, right?
Is it Fiverr? I think you go on, you hire somebody to make it for you. Had it 3D printed. So Lockjaw, who is the giant teleporting dog, beams into Grandmaster's headquarters along with Black Bolt. Black Bolt whispers the words, "I win," at Grandmaster, which, if you know Black Bolt, you know him saying anything, very big deal.
Yeah.
Now, his voice was very badly injured in Death of the Inhumans, where it was like he would never be able to do this again. But he's gotten better. Or again, maybe that series never happened. We don't know.
No,
So he says...
I always thought, this is all like... This is good Marvel storytelling to me because when I saw this, I was like, oh man, I want to go read up on the Inhumans. I think this all comes across pretty cool. So I would read that. I probably will read that Donny Cates story. I think
it's only 4 issues. It's pretty quick. It'll remind you of... That is my recommended reading for this week. It is in my closing. It's like 4 issues. It'll remind you of all the things we loved about Donny Cates' writing and all the things that were, not so great too. So it is a good microcosm of the Donny Cates era in Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Now, Grandmaster's probably not actually fully dead here, right?
You can't. Yeah, I was looking into that after this, or
Because
when
he
I
looks
read
pretty
this.
dead.
He looks pretty knocked out, and I was like, I don't think
And
you can
that
kill
panel?
elders.
The
And
panel where Black Bolt says the thing, awesome looking panel. Just the dynamics and the colors and the Grandmaster just being bent into this crescent shape looks awesome.
Yeah, I read basically that
elders.
The elders had, Grandmaster specifically won a bet against death, and so they're effectively immortal. There
Fair
are
enough.
cosmic characters that can kill them, but it's not like your ordinary brawlers. So I think he's just injured, but he's certainly not dead.
Are they Jack Kirby characters? They have a Jack Kirby feel to them in this kind of primordial sense.
It's a good question. I don't know the answer for that.
Obviously, Storm could kill him, right? Because Storm could kill anybody, but not Black Bolt.
Storm could win with a knife, right? Like she wouldn't need too much.
She doesn't even need to use her powers. She could just use a knife. Very good. So as this issue wraps up and Grandmaster is laying on the ground, probably not entirely dead, but he's certainly not in any position to undo all these wars he started, which is all that Black Bolt and Maximus care about. Yeah. Maximus says to his brother, and this is a cool line, "Let's go get you an empire." Yeah. So that's really what's going on here, making space in the galaxy for a new Inhuman empire to be ruled over by Black Bolt. Yeah. That sounds like fun to me. I'm ready for a little Inhuman revival.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I thought it was Inhumans are certainly not a group that I would immediately be like, oh, I love the Inhumans, but
right. They're no Eternals, right, Ruben?
No, they're not Eternals. Yeah, exactly.
it was a bummer when Marvel was so transparently trying to push the Inhumans up front because they didn't have the movie rights, the X-Men. Yeah. That was stupid, but the Inhumans as characters are still pretty neat.
I thought Matt Razor was
in space, kind of off to the side, not on Earth. I think that's a great place to put them.
Yeah, and you could have them do basically anything in space, right? So
sure.
I thought it was a great idea. I think Matt Razor said the Inhumans are better than people give them credit for.
They do have a connection because they were they were genetically engineered from humans by the Shi'ar. So made, again, very similar to Eternals in some kind of ways.
Oh, it wasn't Shi'ar, it was the Kree.
Kree. Oh, I get those right. Where's the Kree, really?
Yes.
Okay. I'm always going to confuse those, so correct me every time I get it wrong. Yeah. They were genetically engineered. Yeah, it's even here in my notes, by the Kree. So there's that built-in antagonism because they kind of work for the Kree, but they resent working for the Kree. Yeah. And that's also part of what goes on in Death of the Inhumans. So
yeah, there's supposed to be like a seed race where you could help take over a planet through the Inhumans. But
so cool stuff in this issue. The structure of it was not as it was a little clunkier than the first couple issues, right? Like it was kind of like a grab bag of things. Oh, Hickman's check, I got to get this done, and this done. They all got checked off, but it wasn't like as a whole issue. There wasn't any real harmony to it. Just some cool stuff, but that's fine. The art in the first half wasn't as good as the art in the second half. I don't know which artist did which, but like the beginning stuff with Nova and Star-Lord, those faces were kind of stretchy. Shuri looks kind of weird. But all the space and the vehicle and the cosmic stuff looks great. Just one of the artists, I don't care for the way that artist draws faces. I don't know who it was. But again, that's kind of just my taste. And between the cool reveals and kind of the structure of it not being as great as other things, it's still the best Marvel book I read this week. Clearly, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah, same here. I mean, those critiques are all fair, but I read it and I was like, this is cool. And
they're all,
I want to read the next one immediately. So I think it's very successful in that sense.
Yeah, I checked my other scores for this. I'm like, my scores for the 3 issues are 9, 8.8, and 8.5. So trending downwards, but still really good.
If you have a series that's like an average 8, that's a pretty good series.
And there's only one more issue of Imperial itself. Like I said, they're going to take a month off and do the tie-ins, and then Imperial number 4 comes out in I guess October.
Yeah. I hope these tie-ins are meaningful and they don't just feel like cash grabs. I hope they're useful extra stories or extra parts of the story.
Right, because they need to do two things, because they need to set up the spin-offs, but they also need to advance this particular story, which could be tricky, and they're all like, oh, excuse me, Jim definitely had that out. My liquid diet's repeating on me. Because I think Hickman just my understanding is he just gave these other writers here's some plot points you got to hit, and then the other writers are really doing the writing for it. So we'll wait and see. We'll see the first 2 of those next week, presumably. So let's wrap this thing up. Again, my voice always gives out right around an hour and 10 minutes, which is a good time to wrap things up anyway. So looking ahead. Next week, we have X-Men number 21, dealing with the aftermath of Cyclops getting his ass tossed in the clink. And it looks like the rest of the team is going to fight the upstarts again. That's random, but we have only this one more issue before we kind of get into the kickoff, like the prelude to the prelude of Age of Revelation. So sure, have them fight the upstarts.
Mm.
That is where, what's her name? The Animalia, was Jen? Is that her name?
Yeah.
So she was rescued from the upstarts, so she has a connection there. That could be fun. Next week, we also have Phoenix number 14, the penultimate issue of this whole fake sister arc. We'll see what happens there. Maybe they'll explain a little bit. Probably not. And then we'll return to the Weirdos Cosmic Corner with 2 Imperial spin-off one-shots, those being Imperial War Black Panther number 1 and Imperial War Planet She-Hulk number 1. And I am curious to see what She-Hulk's been doing back on, New Sakaar?
Yeah.
Ever since, that was that one panel in the first issue where it said, "Oh, we'll see you in a week," and the narration box said they will not be back in a week. So that was a fun little thing that gets funnier as the longer it goes on without seeing what happens. But curious to see what she's up to, because that was where Hulk's son was one of the murdered rulers. So now there's going to be struggle for who's going to be in charge, and Jen has to kind of keep things together until Bruce Hulk gets back. And then recommended reading is, like I said, the Death of the Inhumans miniseries, back from 2017, 2018, when Donny Cates was kind of the hot new writer. It's a pretty good miniseries. There's some bits where you go, hey, does that really make sense? Is that kind of cheating? But it has that big, flashy wow moment, big stuff happening that I think Marvel could use a little bit more of. Little violent, melodramatic fun. And who doesn't need more of that in their lives? Right, Ruben?
Exactly.
Okay, so until then, everyone, wish me luck on my adventure tomorrow morning. I wish you may be listening to this podcast while I am unconscious with the camera going places. So wish me luck there. And other than that, Ruben, what can our wonderful listeners do until our next episode?
Read more Inhumans comics.
Save that for the X-Men podcast.
Get ready, everyone, and you just might survive. Ruben and Jason are here with their X-Men deep dive. Going through all the X-books is their mission, so get ready for the Learned Edition. Things are getting weird in here. Ruben hopes another sword book gets announced this year. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow. Accept your mind. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow. Accept your mind.
Hey, look, kids. There's Big Ben and there's Parliament.